This is what irregular periodic maintenance, poor mechanics, and years of dirt and grime does to your machine. The rubber seals are literally falling apart. Brake calipers. Let's talk about them. But why? Why do you need to learn such technical stuff? Is it really necessary that every biker should be aware of this, whether you go for long rides or just a small city commutes from your office to home? Now let me just quickly give you an intro on why you should work on your brake system and maintain them from time to time. Here you have the front caliper and all its parts, the rear caliper and all its parts, and the new spares that needs to be replaced. Now here you have the old piston rings, piston seals, the pins, pin inserts, rubber boots, brake pads, brake bracket, and the caliper itself. The same goes to the other side. Now there are different materials here involved. Each needs to be properly greased and serviced for your entire brake systems to run smoothly while you are on the road. Now imagine any of these parts going bad while you are on the road. Will you then rely on a third-party workshop or an authorized service center? You must be joking, my friend, because if anything happens on the road, you are on your own. And that is why you need to learn how to rebuild your brake system, especially the brake calipers. Welcome to Room Brothers. I hope you are safe and sound wherever you are. Let's start with the next episode of our Suzuki Jigsaw project. So anything related to brakes, you will find it in these episodes. How to open, inspect, service, restore, and then reassemble them. Where I am going to show you step-by-step process of how to rebuild it completely, and not just rebuilding it, but we are restoring this as well. So that when we are done with this, these caliper assemblies will look good as of a new one straight off the factory, or even better. Where I have already posted 3 episodes on brake master cylinders and these 2 to 3 upcoming videos on brake calipers, making it a total of 6 to 7 episodes specifically dedicated to brakes. Because we are going to use high quality materials and genuine spares from the manufacturer. These episodes will be short and precise to the point to help every biker and to build a better riding community, who aren't just running after motovlogging or shooting reaction videos all the time, but rather who are skilled and knowledgeable. We all know that's what is happening on social media right now. Because as per me, there are very few content creators, at least in India, that are showing such detailed automotive content with no nonsense attached to it. Looking at all of this, don't panic or get tensed. All you have to do is you should be willing to get your hands down and dirty a bit, and that's it. You should be able to rebuild it and save yourself from a lot of headaches, time, and spending unwanted money, and at last having the peace of mind while you are on the ride. So stick to the end, watch and learn from the content. So let me briefly explain how these modern brake systems work on these modern machines. This goes both for bikes and cars. These are the brake pads, and imagine that we have the brake disc in between them, and these are the pistons which go in these housings. And when you press the brake pedal, these brake pads get pushed by these pistons, which then bites onto the brake disc, and that's how the brake system works. Now when you don't maintain these brake systems thoroughly from time to time during the periodic maintenance, all the gunk and dirt gets collected into this housing and also in here. Look at it. And this restricts the free movement of these pistons, and thereby the pistons cannot function efficiently. Thereby the brake pads cannot hold the disc properly, and thereby you have a poor brake on your machine, no matter if you have a car or motorcycle. Now this particular motorcycle that I'm working on has a dual piston caliper at the front and a single piston caliper at the rear. Now if you upgrade and move on to the high-end machines like the super bikes or the adventure tourer category, then you have the 4 piston caliper, 2 pistons right here and 2 pistons right here at the front, and the dual piston caliper at the rear. So all this brake system gets even more complicated when you don't maintain them periodically. The pistons on these brake calipers were so jammed that I could not remove with any of the tools that I had at home. So I had to get it down using the lathe machine so that both the calipers cannot be damaged from the inside while removing it. The reason for the pistons getting so jammed inside the calipers, you can see the gunk that has filled up at both the sections of the calipers, and the amount of gunk that is accumulated here and that has caused the seals that are inside to go bad, and they have started to fall apart completely. You can see the amount of gunk that is accumulated in and around those piston seals and inside those piston sleeves. And look at the condition of the pistons. Because they are exposed to the outer elements, you see how the outer part of the piston has damaged from the outside, and the same goes to the front two pistons. And by the preliminary inspection, I can tell that the people who have worked on these calipers have not done a good job, because look at the surroundings of the piston head. While servicing them each time, they have pounded it so hard that the chunks of metal are missing from the piston head. And surprisingly, the rear piston looks good in that aspect, as it's less serviced than the front one. Look at the irony. And despite all of it, I would say these pistons are not in a pretty bad condition, for there is life in them. But we are not going to reuse them, we are replacing them. And upon inspection, the only reason this can turn out this bad is because of the poor maintenance of the previous owner and the unskillful work of the mechanics. And this has happened over a duration of 8.5 years repeatedly. So we're gonna do the complete overhaul of the brake system, and we're gonna rebuild both these calipers from the ground up. And before we do that, let's wash them thoroughly, remove all the rubber parts, repaint them and rebuild them. So let's get to work. This is what irregular periodic maintenance, poor mechanics and years of dirt and grime does to your machine. The rubber seals are literally falling apart. So using the rubber silicone spray, let's remove all the rubber boots as well. Look at the amount of corrosion and the oxidization that has built up inside these piston seals. I mean, the seals are literally falling apart. This is the reason all the gunk and the dirt has entered into the piston housing, and the piston got jammed, and then you have the poor braking system. Now imagine the whole braking system getting failed while you are on the ride at 60 kmph or even 100 kmph. You would have no time to react, and this would definitely end up in a mishap or an accident. Look at the amount of corrosion even at the end of the nipple, even on the rear caliper too. It's not that bad, but the corrosion is definitely there. So let's get to work, wash them thoroughly and get back to you guys. But let's have some before shots and see how they transform at the end. I'm sure you guys have learned something, and these calipers are now nice and dry, and we will restore them in the next episode. So don't miss it. So I'll see you guys soon. Peace.